A strange thing is happening in tech right now. Apple, Google, Meta, Amazon, companies that usually take very different approaches are all starting to build the same kind of device. Not smartphones, not laptops, something new, smart glasses, AI wearables, ambient assistants, different names, slightly different designs. But at their core, they're all trying to solve the same problem. And that raises a big question. Why is everyone suddenly building the same gadget? Because in tech, that usually means one thing: a major shift is coming. To understand it, you have to look at what's happening to the current dominant device, the smartphone. For over a decade, the smartphone has been the center of everything. It's how we communicate, work, navigate, shop, and consume content. But in 2026, the smartphone is no longer in its growth phase. It's in its maturity phase. Innovation is slowing, upgrades are incremental, user behavior is stable, and most importantly, the smartphone is reaching its limits, not because it's bad, but because it's complete. You can't fundamentally change how it works anymore without replacing the entire concept. And that's exactly what tech companies are preparing to do. Because the biggest opportunities in tech don't come from improving the current device. They come from defining the next one. That's why everyone is moving at the same time. They're not copying each other, they're responding to the same shift. The first driver behind this is AI. AI is changing how we interact with technology. Right now, smartphones are built around apps. You open something, search, scroll, tap. But AI removes that need. Instead of navigating apps, you simply express intent, and the system handles the rest. That means the interface, the screen, becomes less important, because you're not interacting step by step anymore. You're delegating outcomes, and once that happens, the entire design of the device can change. You don't need a big screen. You don't need dozens of apps. You don't need constant interaction. You need a system that listens, understands, and acts. That's why so many of these new gadgets look similar. They're built around AI-first interaction, not screen-first interaction. The second reason is something most people don't think about: attention. The smartphone is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly demanding. It constantly pulls your focus. Notifications, messages, endless content. People are starting to feel that. Screen fatigue is real, and there's growing demand for something different. Technology that helps without constantly interrupting. The new generation of devices is designed around that idea. Less screen time, more seamless interaction, more invisible technology. So instead of pulling you into a device, the device works in the background, and that requires a completely different form factor. Smaller, wearable, always available, but not always visible. That's why smart glasses, AI pins, and wearable assistants are all emerging at the same time. They're different solutions to the same problem. The third reason is control. This is where things get strategic. Right now, Apple and Google control the smartphone ecosystem. They control app distribution, user access, platform rules, and companies like Meta and Amazon depend on that. Which is a problem, because dependency limits control.
Limits data, limits monetization. So building a new device category is not just about innovation, it's about breaking free from existing platforms. If a company can define the next device, it becomes the new platform owner. And that changes everything, because platforms are where the real power is. The fourth reason is data. Future devices don't just collect what you tap or click. They collect context, what you're looking at, where you are, what you're doing, what you're saying, in real time. That's far more valuable because it feeds AI systems in a deeper way, makes them smarter, more predictive, more personalized. So these new gadgets are not just devices, they're data engines, and the companies that control them control the next generation of intelligence. There's also a timing factor that explains why this is happening now. The technology is finally ready. AI is advanced enough to handle real tasks. Hardware is small enough to be wearable. Connectivity is fast enough to support real-time systems. So for the first time, the idea of a post-smartphone device is actually possible. And when that happens, companies move fast. Because missing a platform shift is one of the biggest risks in tech. We've seen it before. Companies that dominated one era failed to adapt to the next and disappeared. No one wants to be in that position again, so even if the outcome is uncertain, everyone is investing, everyone is experimenting, everyone is building, because it's better to compete early than to catch up later. But here's the most important part of this story. Even though these companies are building similar devices, they're not building the same strategy. Apple is focused on tight ecosystem control, Google is focused on AI and services, Meta is focused on immersive platforms. Amazon is focused on ambient, voice-driven environments, same category, different end goals. And that's what makes this same gadget trend so interesting. It's not convergence, it's competition at the earliest stage, a race to define what comes next. And right now, no one has won. Smart glasses might take off, AI wearables might become dominant, or something entirely different could emerge. But one thing is clear, the smartphone will not be the center forever, and the companies that understand that are already building what replaces it. So when you see every tech giant suddenly building the same gadget, it's not a coincidence, it's a signal that the next major shift in technology has already begun. And this time, it's not about a better screen, it's about a world where you might not need one at all.